namaste. I just wanted to give you the significance of the namaste before we proceed. When I say namaste, I say I bow before the divinity within you. Because the Hindus believe that every human being, every soul is potentially divine. Okay, so when we look at somebody, we don't look at just the person. We look at the divinity within him and the God's creation. And we believe that God dwells in him. And so we have to be good to him. It's our responsibility to be nice to the person. So whenever we meet anybody, whether you know him, you don't know him, we say namaste and we fold up our hands and we start our day by greeting the other person by saying, I bow before the divinity within you. Okay? How many of you know about Hinduism or have some Hindu friends or some information about Hinduism? Great. So as we see, there is very little information out there about Hinduism and Hindu Dharma. Hinduism is a Western term, but when Hindus refer to their own civilization or their religion, we say Hindu Dharma. And I'll give you a brief about what Dharma means in the detailed session that we have later on. I would like to start off by letting you know that there are about 1 billion Hindus in the world today. It's about 1/6 of humanity. It's the world's third largest religion after Christianity and Islam. And when you talk about how old the religion is, it's about 2,500 to 5,000 years BC, before Christianity, before Christ. So it's a very old cultural tradition. Religion is a part of it. It's not the traditional form of religion. So some more information about the Hindu Dharma or Hinduism. Where did it originate? It originated in the Indian subcontinent, modern day India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, Nepal. These were all areas where the civilization developed about 5,000 plus years back. The ancient language of Hindus is called Sanskrit. So the sacred scriptures of the Hindus are in language called as Sanskrit. There are other classical languages too, but Sanskrit is considered to be a very important old ancient language. So when the civilization started 5,000 years back, the compilation of the scriptures, the old scriptures that are there, they're called the Vedas. Veda means to know. In Sanskrit, it means to know. So the Vedas are the compilation of the revelations made to various saints and sages who are in the quest of truth. So there's no single founder or authority in Hinduism saying that this person founded the religion and people prescribe to those regulations found by the founders. So there's no regulatory authority that says, this is the hierarchy. No, that's not the way the Hindu Dharma, the Hindu civilization is structured. So when we go to the origins of the civilization, then we talk about Sanskrit, then we talk about the Vedas, and we understand that there are about 2,500 archaeological sites in India and the Indian subcontinent, which clearly demonstrate that there's been a continuous cultural tradition. So it's not something that was broken and then people started, there was a revolution. There's been a continuous process, a tradition that's been practiced. So the Vedas, the chanting by the priest over here is the same verse that was said or chanted 5,000 years back. So it's a very dynamic religion in the sense that, it modifies. There's a lot of scope for flexibility and, there's a lot of freedom, unheard of freedom. When I go into details, there's absolutely so much freedom that sometimes it seems like it's ridiculous to have so much freedom. How can there be any structure? Okay? So, but there are 10 main, very important pillars of, there are 4 main pillars of Hinduism that I want to first touch upon. When we talk about Hinduism, the first thing that we need to understand is that it's a synthesis of spiritualism and materialism. So every Hindu is supposed to have 4 pillars in his life. The first pillar is called Dharma. Dharma means your roles and your duties and your responsibilities towards yourself, your family, the entire human mankind, and beyond the human body, it's also towards all the living animals and the non-living resources. So duties and responsibilities is dharma. The second pillar is called artha, is prospering materially. So every person wants to do well. They want to eat good food. They want to have a good life. They want good shelter. They want good clothing. So artha. Then we have kama. Kama means fulfilling desires as per the age of a person or the stage of life that he is in. So every person wants to fulfill those desires. It's called kama. And finally, there's moksha. That's self-realization. Self-realization is also very, very important. It's a very important pillar of the Hindu Dharma. So when every day when a human being has to lead his life, he has to balance between these four very important pillars. You remember your roles and responsibilities towards humanity. At the same time, you progress in life for your material comfort, for your desires, and as well, always remember that this material world is not what you really seek for. What you really want is self-realization. Understanding yourself, and when you understand yourself well, then you understand the divine being. Okay? So this is the basic concept of Hinduism, the four pillars. There are 10 very important qualities that a Hindu should have. The first word is called Shama. Shama means forgiveness, the ability to forgive. Then the second important quality that the Hindu is supposed to have is called Indrani Nigra. These are all Sanskrit terminologies. Indrani Nigra means control over your senses. Then the third one is Sauchya, maintaining hygiene. Every human being, every Hindu is supposed to maintain hygiene. Satya, truthfulness, always speak the truth. Satya. And after Satya we have Astiya, means don't steal. Okay? Akrodha, control over your anger. And then you have Vidya, always seek knowledge. Always seek knowledge. Dhi is use your intellect wisely. Dhriti is always try to develop patience in your personality. So these are 10 broad qualities that every person every Hindu is supposed to have. I'm just touching upon the very broad qualities and the four pillars, and when we go into the detailed session later on, I will explain in further detail about the philosophical concept and whether it's, people always ask, how many gods do you have? Do you believe in one God or you have numerous gods? I think we require a detailed discussion later on. But for now, if you have any questions regarding anything that we have spoken or we have just heard right now, I would be very glad to answer any of the questions in their doubts. Great. Yes.
Why did they wear the little dot on the forehead?
Bindi. Okay, great. So I have an expert who's going to just let you know about it.
A very good morning to all of you and namaste. It's a pleasure to be here to share some information we know about the Hindu religion and the Hindu cultures. The bindi, what I am also wearing on today, and what Padma, my friend here, is also wearing on. They're different shapes.
Different shades and colors, mainly maroon color.
That's okay, no problem. We'll exchange notes as we go. So we believe that there's a very important reason why we wear the bindi in the center or on the forehead, right in the center here, because that's also seeking a lot of focus and attention. So anytime you have that on, you have the focus and attention. So when during the traditional period of time when men and women were addressed as people going to the temple, especially, they used to wear that specifically in the red color because it's also mixed with a very an antiseptic, which is turmeric. Have you guys heard about turmeric? It's a powder that we use for cooking too, and it's mixed with the turmeric, so it also gives a medicinal value for you. And it's believed that there is a center nerve here that absorbs that medicinal value to keep you in focus too. So The one important reason is the attention and the focus. So when women wear it on, it's wore in the red color as a round or different shapes, and now it's become more of a designer, value also. So people, you can see many different people wear it besides Hindus too. And they have it in all shapes and sizes, and they have it in triangles and squares and all different, designer formats. The men wear it as another medicinal, quality too. It's called a chandan, which is also, again, a powder which they mix with water and put it in the center, and again, keeping that focus or attention as a main important aspect. When married women wear it in different cultures within the Hindu system, they also wear it in the red color, and when there are other cultures where the women wear it only after marriage within the Hindu culture too. So that's, I think, the briefing about the different reason why we wear the dot in the center, which is not a dot today for me, but for Padma, yes.
And if anybody want to try the dots, I have some of them here, so welcome to try them later, okay?
Anybody want to explore the dot today? Get some extra focus on people there. Sure. I'm just going to pass these out.
Let's see how focused you're going to be today after maybe
Thank you.